an orchestra adventure with Maestro Carl and friends. Sensational strings.
Please welcome your host, the most modest maestro this side of the Rocky Mountains, the one, the only. Hi there. Have we got a show for you today? We're going to explore the section of the orchestra consisting of more members than any other, the strings. Everyone knows and loves the luscious sound of the strings. That sounds like some of that modern music. I was thinking something more traditional. String instruments have stretched out strings to specific degrees of tension. The sound is produced by striking one of the strings in some way. This causes the string to vibrate, producing a certain pitch and a certain type of sound. Just listen to how the pitch changes when I stretch out this elastic band. Thank you. I'll be taking this show on the road next year. The string section consists of a whole bunch of musicians playing on 4 different instruments. These are the violin, viola, cello, and double bass.
This instrument also has strings. This is also a string instrument. What about this one?
Mame mi mo mu. Mame mi mo mu.
Okay, all right. So there are lots of string instruments, but the ones we're going to be looking at today are bowed string instruments. While the players of these instruments sometimes pluck the strings using their fingers, most of the time they produce sound by dragging the bow across the strings. I think it's time to pay a visit to Principal Second Violinist, Lorna Tsai. Hey Lorna!
Hi Carl. Hi everyone. Something you may not know about the violin is that they are very old. For violinists, usually the older the instrument, the better. Most of the violins the Calgary Phil musicians play on are probably older than your parents. It's so different from today where everyone wants to have the newest technology, whether it's the newest phone or laptop. For violins, the more we play on the instrument, the better it sounds and the more the instrument will open up. Even compared to other instruments in the orchestra, violins will probably be the oldest instruments you find on stage at the Calgary Philharmonic. In our orchestra, there are 22 violinists. They play in the first and second violin sections. I love the violin because I find the expressive range of the instrument to be so vast. Sometimes we play beautiful, serene music, and sometimes we play music that's intense and menacing.
Thanks so much, Lorna. Right, so there's a first and second violin section. This opens up all kinds of possibilities. Sometimes they play the same thing at the same time. Sometimes they alternate back and forth like a tennis match. In fact, they're quite evenly matched. Sometimes the first violins play a soaring melody, while the second violins play the accompaniment underneath. Sometimes we just have rests and don't play anything for a while. Yo, do you have any snacks? Well, I bet that some of you had heard about the violin before. Maybe you even know how to play one. But how many of you have heard about its bigger cousin, the viola? Let's check in with Calgary Philharmonic violist Alisa Klebanov. Elisa, what can you tell us about your instrument?
Hey Carl, this is a viola. It looks like a violin, only it's bigger. It has 4 strings on it, just like all the other orchestral string instruments. It sounds lower than the violin, but higher than the cello. Take a look at these clefs. This is a treble clef, and this is a bass clef. While most music is written out in these 2 clefs, viola music is special. We have our own clef, the alto clef. The viola has a beautiful warm sound with a richer and deeper quality to it than the violin. Some seriously awesome composers such as Beethoven and Chopin stated that it was one of their favorite instruments.
Fascinating. What about Bach? Could you play some of his music for us?
Bach? Is that a composer? I've never heard of him.
You leave me no choice. I'm gonna have to send you back to the year 1723.
Whoa! What's going on? What's Bach?
Brava! That was excellent! One of the bourrées from Bach's third cello suite. Although I don't think viola started performing that music until the 20th century.
Well, no matter. I've always been a trendsetter. So, how do I get back to the present time?
Okay, moving right along. Next we have... That's weird. This picture of Bach and his family looks different from how I remember it. It's that time again. Here's our composer profile. Composer profile. Johann Sebastian Bach was a German composer born in 1685. He spent the longest portion of his life in Leipzig, working at the St. Thomas Church in the center of the city. This meant composing new music for church services and training the choir to sing to the heavens. Bach was a master improviser on keyboard instruments, and in those days, there was no piano yet, so this meant playing the organ and the harpsichord. Throughout his life, Bach wrote over 1,000 works and had 20 children, some of whom went on to become famous composers themselves. Somehow, Bach was able to compose music that is often highly complex, but always beautiful and expressive. Beautiful. The sound of so many string instruments playing together in unison. Unison means they're all playing the same thing. Sometimes composers try to surprise listeners by writing for unpredictable instruments. The most famous Russian composer ever was Tchaikovsky, and when he was composing his 1812 overture, he actually wrote the firing of cannons into the final pages. But the piece begins in a much more lyrical way. Listen to these 6 string instruments playing together. 2 violas and 4... What's the bigger instrument called? That's right, the cello. Let's go in for a closer look with an instant replay. Alright, now watch closely. So here we can clearly see that these fine musicians are using the entire length of their bows to get a nice full sound out of their instruments. Stop right here! This is called a down bow, when the bow is being pulled away from the instrument. And you'll see here that this is an up bow, when the hand holding the bow is moving back towards the strings. And look at this wiggly motion they're all doing with their left hands. For more on this, we now go live to principal cellist Arnold Choi.
Who's a good cat? Oh, hey, Carl. That left-hand motion is called the vibrato. It helps make the sound fuller and richer when we play longer notes. Think of how a singer uses the same technique to help shape the sound. I can show you the difference. Here's a passage without vibrato. Now listen to that same passage with vibrato. So we have to decide how to use vibrato in every piece we play.
Now, I understand that occasionally you've been known to go into beast mode.
Well, that was from a performance of a concerto. A concerto is a piece for a featured soloist with the orchestra accompanying alongside. This differs from a symphony, which has no single soloist and instead features the whole orchestra in all its glory.
Aha! I've always wondered about that. So, would you mind leaving us with some parting music?
Okay, bye everyone.
Does anyone know what the biggest and lowest sounding string instrument is? Please give a warm welcome to Sam Locke, principal bass of the Calgary Philharmonic.
Thanks, Carl. Hi, everyone. This is my companion on my musical journey. It has many names: string bass, double bass, upright bass, but I just call it my bass. It's a lot like the other instruments we've looked at today, but it sounds way lower.
Well, I think the question that everyone would like answered is, just how low can you go?
The bottom string is traditionally a low E. But, like most bassists nowadays, I have this crazy contraption called an extension that lets me play all the way down to a low C.
Wow, that is really cool. I know, right? Definitely very cool.
The basses usually perform the lowest musical line of a piece of music, known as the bass line. This is like the foundation on top of which the melodies and the harmonies are built. Does the bass ever get to play a solo melody? That melody kind of sounds familiar. When Gustav Mahler was composing his first symphony, it's as if he wrote in the tune to Frère Jacques, but in a minor key. Most music is either in major or minor. Hey Sam, could you play Frère Jacques as we know it in D major? I would say that's a pretty happy sounding melody, wouldn't you? Now, if we just change that third note, make it a little lower, and add in a little passing note on the way back down, we get Mahler's variation on the original melody in D minor. Music is all about expressing how we feel. So, what better place to start than with happy, major, and sad, minor? Does that all sound right to you, Sam?
Sounds like music to my ears. Bye, Carl.
Bye, Sam. So there you have it, the sensational strings. Did you have a favorite instrument? Maybe you're an aspiring violinist or violist, or perhaps you liked those low strings the best, the cello and the double bass. It's been a real pleasure having you with us again this week, and I can't wait to see where our adventures take us next time. See you later, everyone.